So, we now know where water comes from, but what happens to it once we've used it? For some, the answer to that question is a septic tank.
Again, the concepts we talked about from nature come into play. When you send anything down the drain, like laundry, water, and yes, that waste goes into your septic tank. The first part of the process is basically sedimentation. Heavy stuff falls to the bottom where microorganisms break them down. The water on the top of the tank slowly goes through a tube and into a drain field. A drain field spreads the water over a large area and lets the earth superfilter clean the water on its way back into the aquifer. When you have a septic tank, it's important to think about what you put down the drain. If your home has a septic tank and a well, you could pollute your own water supply by putting harmful chemicals through your septic system.
If your home doesn't use a septic tank, your wastewater ends up at a wastewater treatment plant, as does water from industry. The folks that work here call it a clean water plant, because that's what they do. They clean the water, and that's what we'll call them.
The goal of a clean water plant is to make the incoming wastewater safe to return to the environment. This water isn't used for drinking. When the water enters the plant, stuff like paper, plastic, and grit is removed. This next part ought to seem familiar. Yes, it's the sedimentation tank. Stuff falls to the bottom and yada, yada, yada. I think you get the picture. The water is still pretty dirty. Once again, scientists looked at nature to figure out the best way to do this.
At this clean water plant, scientists have created kind of a zoo, full of waste-eating organisms similar to those found in nature. These zoo animals have everything they need to grow and multiply. Food from the water and oxygen from forced air into these tanks. Boy, are those guys hungry.
The animals chow down on the nutrients and clean the water. This mixture of water and microorganisms then goes again to a sedimentation tank. The well-fed zoo animals and waste fall to the bottom of the tank where they are collected. Some zoo animals get to go back for dessert and to keep cleaning. Finally, the water is treated with some chemicals to kill any remaining harmful organisms. Because this water will eventually be returned to a river, the chemicals are then removed.
This is what we started with, raw sewage. This is what we ended up with, clean water. Quite a difference. This one is now safe to return to the ecosystem and become part of the water cycle all over again.